Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at Descent of Dragons and doing a set review on it. Mostly going to be from a WoW perspective, but I will mention standard here and there. But without further ado, let's look at some of these cards. So first of all, we have Ysera Unleashed, 9 mana, 4/12, Battlecry, shuffle 7 Dreamcoil into your deck. When drawn, summon a random dragon. So this card is pretty slow and not really something I would expect to see in Wild. Maybe if you want a finisher in Standard, it could be okay. But I think in Wild, the most likely use is just going to be off of Netherfight Historian if Dragon Druid becomes a Saint. But I don't really expect much of it. Probably just going to be a 1-star for me. But yeah. Moving on to Goro the Maitri. 7 mana, 5/10 taunt for the rest of the game. Your treants have +1/+1. Card seems okay. I don't really think Treant Druid is gonna be a thing. It's also like really slow. It's nice that it gives you a buff, but it's on turn 7, where like it's probably too late. But 7 mana, 5/12 or 5/10 taunt is decent stats, and then if you have a board of treants, it's pretty powerful, but you have to be pretty far ahead to do that. So I don't really expect this to be very good either. So I'll give that a 1 as well. Secure the deck, 1 mana side quest, attack twice with your hero, add 3 claw spells to your hand. Seems pretty slow, and like the payoff isn't that great either. I can't really think of a good use for claw. It's not really something you play in your deck, and not really something you get much value off of. So I don't really expect this to see any play. Give it a 1 again. Embiggen, give all minions in your deck +2/+2 for 0 mana. Interesting card. I don't know what you would really play this with, though. Like, if you're giving, for this to be worth it, I think you need to be playing cards like Echoing Ooze, Doppelganger, things like that, like, summon multiple copies of it. It's also good with, like, Rush and Divine Shield, like Ziliax specifically. But I don't really think this card will see much play. Maybe, yeah, I can't really think of anything. Like, it's like a Kaliseth effect, but they also cost 1 more. Maybe it's powerful, I'm not sure. I'll give it a 2 because I think it has more potential than the other 3 so far, but I don't expect it to see much play at all. Then we have Breath of Dreams. 2 mana, draw a card. If you're holding a dragon, gain an empty mana crystal. Card is insane. Like, I would play this without the cycle in a heartbeat. The cycle just makes you want to play dragons, but I don't know if there's enough dragon support for Druid, really. The idea of going this into Twilight Guardian is pretty powerful, but is there enough dragons for Dragon Druid to really be a thing? That's kind of the question I have, and I don't think there is. But I'm gonna rate it on power level, regardless of whether the archetype is gonna be a thing. So on power level, this is 5 out of 5 for me. Like, ramping a mana and drawing a card is just nuts, because the downside of ramping usually is like you're wasting a card. But in this case, you're actually getting the card back, which is just nuts, in my opinion. So that's going to be a 5 for me. I don't know if it'll actually see play because I don't know if there's enough support, but it's very, very powerful. Next we have Reinforcements. 5-star name for a probably 2-star card. Give a minion +2 health and taunt, or summon a 2/2 treant. 1 mana 2/2 isn't bad. Not great, but it's okay. Give a minion +2 health and taunt is like fine, not really that good. Not a super exciting card. It's probably just gonna be a 2 for me. Aeroponics, 5 mana, draw 2 cards, cost 2s for each treant you control. It's an okay card. If you have one treant out, it's an AI, which is decent. But Druid already has Ferocious Howl and Branching Path. So it's hard for me to see this scene play. It is good. I guess it is good if you play like Living Mana. You can just play this for 0, the same turn you play Living Mana. Or some kind of board fill of treants like that. That's actually pretty powerful. That's where I see it being play, but I don't really think a treant Druid is really all that good. It'd be really cool if it was, but I don't really think it'll see play. But it's a decent card, so I'll give it a 2. Next we have Emerald Explorer, 6 mana, 4/8 taunt, Battlecry, Discover a Dragon. This card seems okay to me. 6 mana, 4/8 isn't the best stats, but it's passable, and it discovers a dragon when it Battlecries, so it's not bad. It's okay. Another 2. Then we have True Badier. I probably butchered that. 2 mana, 1/1, summon a 2/2 treant. Another card to mess around with for treants. So for 2 mana, you're getting 3/3 worth of stats. Not bad. Just not sure if it has a home. So I'm just gonna do a 2 again. Strengths and numbers, spend 10 mana on minions. Summon a minion from your deck. I feel like this is weird because to get to spend 10 mana on minions early, you're gonna have to play small minions, but you want to hit a big minion off the reward. I guess you could ramp up and then play a 10 mana minion and then you can get something else, which is a good tempo swing, but like, I don't know, that just seems like way too much work. I'm just gonna give this a 1, I just don't see it. And then next we have Hunter. Let's start with the legendaries. Let's see, Dragonbane, 4 mana, 3/5. To use your hero power, deal 5 to a random enemy. Best case scenario, this is 6 mana, 3/5. Deal 5 to a minion and kill it, which is strong, but it's random, so it could hit their face, which would not be very good. And if you're playing this in aggro, you're not doing it correctly. I mean, I guess 4 mana 3/5 isn't the worst, but this isn't really an aggro card. So like, you want the 5 damage to hit the minion, and it can just hit face, and that makes it kind of bad. So I'm just gonna go for a 1 on this one. Next we have Varanus. Pretty cool art. 6 mana, 7/6. Battlecry, change the health of all enemy minions to 1. So it's a one-sided equality on a 7/6 body. Seems okay. I just don't really see where you would want it. Like, it could set up your explosive trap, I guess, but then they just trade their minions into this instead. You could play it with Unleash the Hound, which is kind of cute, but that's a 9 mana play. Overall, not huge on this card. I give it a 2. Toxic Reinforcement, side quest, use your hero power 3 times. Reward summon 3 weapon knowns. So the quickest you can do this is on turn 4. Pretty slow, but 3 weapon knowns is 6 damage. That isn't that bad, but I think it's a little too slow. But at that point, I feel like they can just ignore the leper gnomes most of the time. It's just so slow. So I'm just gonna give it a 1. Stormhammer, 3 mana, 3/2, doesn't lose durability while you control a dragon. Could be powerful. If there's enough dragon support in Hunter, could be okay. I'd give it a 3 on power level, but again, might not see play because of the lack of support. Not a bad card though. And then we have Phase Stalker, 2 mana, 2/3. After you use your hero power, cast a secret from your deck. It is worth mentioning now that I think about it. You can use these two cards in Dragonbane and Phase Stalker in a Even Hunter, because your hero power will cost 1 then. That could be something to look into, maybe. Definitely interesting. Not sure if it's worth it though. Definitely makes this a little bit more manageable though. It's 5 mana instead of 6, and this would be 3 mana instead of 4. So that definitely helps. And that being said, I think this card is okay. It's alright. I don't really expect it to see a ton of play. It's just a little too slow, again. I'll just give it a 2. It has the upside, but if anything, it will be an Even Hunter card. Clear the Way. Side quest, summon 3 Rush minions, summon a 4/4 Griffin with Rush. I'd have to think about all the Rush minions in Hunter. The only one I can think of is Hunting Mastiff. 2/1 that has Echo. Which is good for completing this, but I don't know if the payoff is really worth it. Also, like, really late in the game that you're going to be able to do that. Of course, it does work very well with Diving Griffin. That is, definitely something. I don't think this card is worth it. I'm going to give it a 1. Diving Griffin, 3 mana, 4/1 Rush. Battle card, draw a Rush minion from your deck. This is basically Shadow Bolt and draw card. She's pretty good. Just a question as to like what deck would really want to play this. Maybe like a Reno Hunter. You could play this with Ziliax. Probably would want one more Rush minion for this to be consistent though. I can't really think of anything that would be really good. Could play the Mastiff, so it would be okay. But this card's decent. I'd give it a 3. I think it's a pretty powerful effect, being able to draw a card and Shadow Bolt something, basically. It also has some synergy with, like, Crackling Razormaw and Helmmaster, if you want to go that route. It's alright. It's an okay card. I guess I should give it a 2 then. Yeah, I'll give it a 2. Dwarven Sharpshooter, 1 mana, 1/3. Your hero power can target minions. This card decent. Card pretty decent. It lets you actually control the board with your hero power, which is nice. And deal 2 damage as a hero power, pretty good. The question is, what kind of deck would you want to send? Maybe Reno Hunter again. Maybe you want it in Reno Hunter, because you don't really want other hero power in Reno Hunter, like the deal 2. This way you can actually make use of it. Maybe you want to try it in Odd Hunter. You can deal 3 to minions. Although that deck's probably mostly just gonna rely on going face, so probably not that good. This is probably, I think this is a 2.5 for me. It's decent, but I don't know if it has a home. Primordial Explorer next. 3 mana, 2/3 poisonous. Dragon, battlecry, discover a dragon. So it's Emperor Cobra with a discover a dragon ability, and it's a dragon. It's an okay card. It does replace itself, which is nice. It's good for your Dragon Synergy cards. I give it a 2. It's a card you can play, but it's not Super exciting. Corrosive Breath, deal 3 damage to a minion if you're holding a dragon also hits the enemy hero. If you're playing a Dragon Hunter that's like tempo based, this could be good, but I'm not sure if there's a good way to do that. Reminds me of the magic card Searing Blaze. It also deals 3 to a minion and 3 to the face, which was a very powerful card, but that's only in dedicated burn decks, and this has a huge drawback of needing to hold a dragon. So this card is powerful, but I'd probably just give it a 2. It's not as exciting as some of the other ones. And then we have Mage, one of my favorite classes. Malygos Aspect of Magic. 5 mana, 2/8. If you're holding a dragon, discover an upgraded mage spell. So I don't know all the spells that I can upgrade off the top of my head, but I know Flame Strike was one of them. AI was one of them. See if I can figure that out quick. Okay. 1 mana Poly is also not bad. 1 mana Frost Nova, not bad. 0 mana Frostbolt's kinda nice. You can play it tempo based then. 8 damage Fireball is pretty good. 3 spells from Tome of Intellect, so Flawless Tome for 1 mana. 6 damage Arcane Missiles. Pretty powerful card, I think, overall. Again, the question is there enough dragon support? I think there might be a mage, but we'll see. I would give this I'd give it a 3, I think. It is a powerful effect, for sure. Then we'll go to Shenvala. 3 mana, 2/5 after you cast 3 spells in a turn, summon a 5/5 elemental. This seems like a better Dragon Soul to me in a class that is very good at casting lots of spells. Seems powerful to me. It's also nice that it doesn't die to Zephyrs into weapon destruction like Dragon Soul does. I think this card is quite good. I'll give it a 3. I'm not entirely sure if it'll see play, but I think it definitely could in something like Quest Mage or like a more tempo-based mage. And then we have Mana Giant, 8 mana, 8/8. Cost 1 less for each card you played this game that didn't start in your deck. Definitely a Quest Mage card, I think. If you think about it, as far as Quest Mage goes, like you have to cast 6 spells for it to go off, and then this will cost 2 mana at least, or it'll be 2 mana at most, which is not bad. And then you play the Time Warp, it'll cost 1, which is pretty strong. You can go, drop this with Arcane Giants and try to kill them with the extra turn. I think it'll be good in a Reno Quest Mage. I'm not sure if it's better than Arcane Giant in a non-quest, or I don't know if it's better than Arcane Giant in the regular Quest Mage. It's close. I think Arcane Giant is slightly better though, because it still counts like your Glyph, your Ray of Frost, things like that. Your Magic Trick still counts for Arcane Giant, so I think this is slightly worse than Arcane Giant, but in a Reno build, could definitely be useful. Rolling Fireball, 5 mana, deal 8 to any minion, or to a minion, any excess damage continues to the left or right. This card seems pretty strong to me. Obviously Meteor is a lot better for 6 mana, but this is a very big upgrade to Flame Lance, and I think Flame Lance was already passable in Reno Mage. And I think this being a 2-for-1 potentially, and just the flexibility of it, is quite nice. So I'd probably give this a 3. I don't know if I graded Mana Giant. I probably also give this a 3. Just for Reno class. I don't think it's particularly good in Quest Mage, because I don't know if you want more Giants. If you do, it's good. If you don't, it doesn't really do anything then. Dragon Caster, 6 mana, 4/4. If you're holding a dragon, your next spell this turn costs 0. Could be powerful. I mean, being able to play a 10 mana spell or even an 8 mana spell with this is pretty powerful. Be kind of interesting to try this in a Spiteful Dragon Mage, although you probably don't have enough spells in the deck for this to be really worth it at that point. It's also quite good with Firewind Portal. This card is very powerful though, like it has a lot of potential. It also could make your Kazakus Potion cost 0, your 10 mana one. Really powerful. I think I will give this a 3. Very powerful effect. The question is there going to be enough dragons for Dragon Mage to be a Sane? And I think with Malygos and Arcane Breath and things like that, you could definitely make an argument that Mage is well enough supported for it. Arcane Breath, 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion if you're holding a dragon, discover a spell. Pretty powerful effect. Probably give it a... I don't know if it's quite good enough for a 3. I give it a 2.5. Draw an effect. Just, again, are there enough dragons? And I think there probably is, but we'll have to see. Elemental Allies, 1 mana side quest. Play an elemental 2 turns in a row. Draw 3 spells from your deck. This card is very powerful. The question is there enough playable elementals early? It's obviously nuts with Firefly. But outside of that, kind of have to look at elementals and kind of figure out if this is good enough. But I think there's probably enough passable or pretty good elementals. You can play Glacial Shard, for example, which isn't too bad. For this to be viable, I'd probably give it a 3. Again, very powerful card. Being able to draw 3 spells from your deck is just very, very powerful. Oh, one thing I do want to mention, I forgot to mention that this is very good with the 0 mana spell that makes an elemental cost to us, so you could just play this on turn 1 with a bunch of other spells. If you have, I guess you need 0 mana spells, but if you have the coin, you could do pretty crazy things with this. Anyway, moving on to Learn Draconic. 1 mana side quest, spend 8 mana on spell, summon a 6/6 dragon. I don't really want to spend a card on this effect. It takes too long to get going, so I'm just gonna give it a 1. Violet Spellwing, 1 mana, 1/1 elemental, add an arcane missile spell to your hand. This could be one of those elementals that you play with the quest. It's not too bad. You can get another spell if you're playing Quest Mage, it could help there. It's also good with the new elemental Chandvala. I'd give it a 2.5. 1 mana cards that generate cards are usually pretty strong. Azure Explorer, 4 mana, 2/3, discover a dragon, spell damage +2. This card's good with Arcane Blast. First thing that pops up for me. It's probably somewhat helpful in Freeze Mage, because I think usually in Freeze Mage you play 1 Cosmic Anomaly, but the stats on it really don't matter, because the turn you're playing it, you're killing your opponent usually. Whereas this gives you a little bit more flexibility. If it's a matchup where you don't need to deal 30, you can just use it to discover a dragon and try to protect your life total, or whatever the case may be. So I give it a 2. It's definitely good enough for Freeze Mage, in my opinion, but outside of that, I don't really see it. Next we have Paladin, starting with Dormu the Timeless, 4 mana, 8/8 Battlecry, set each player to 10 mana crystals. Card is very, very bad because the turn you play it, you can't play like 6 mana worth of cards or anything. You don't get to use the mana crystals for your opponent does. At least that's my understanding of the card. In which case it's very bad. So your opponent can just play whatever they want next turn. I'll just give it a 1. Assuming that is the case. Obviously if that's not the case, then the card's absurd, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works, so I'm gonna give it a 1. Dragon Rider Teresa, 3 mana Death Rattle, 3/3, give a dragon in your hand, +3/+3, and the Death Rattle. Kinda powerful, can snowball. Out of control. It's pretty slow. Powerful effect though, like, just being able to do that again and again and again is kind of like, the legendary weapon Valenier. Kind of similar to that. Card's okay. I would give it a 2.5 probably. Sanctuary, 2 mana side quest, take no damage for a turn. Reward summon a 3/6 minion with taunt. Take no damage for a turn. That's interesting. My first thought is just playing Righteous Protector turn 1 into this. That could be pretty powerful, honestly, because they usually aren't going to deal damage to you. Of course, some classes have Pain or Steady Shot, but that's only 2 classes. Most of the classes don't have something that deals damage that quickly, so this could be powerful. Depends on the matchup, but I think this card is quite good. That being said, I am looking at this from a very ideal circumstance, because playing Protector is like the best thing you can do into this, but outside of that, it's not amazing. I mean, it depends on the matchup, really. I think it's going to be a 2 for me, just because it's very matchup reliant. So if your opponent isn't doing anything for like the first 3 turns and they can't damage you, then this card is very powerful. Very powerful tempo swing. But yeah, moving on. Whiteforge Crusader, 7 mana 7/7. Your deck has no neutral cards, add 5 random paladin cards to your hand. Kind of an interesting payoff. I'm not sure if there's enough good paladin cards for it. There probably is. I'm thinking there's probably enough paladin cards that this isn't that big of a downside. But I don't know if you, even then, I don't know if you want to play this card. I give it a 2. I mean, it draws 5 cards, I guess. Random paladin cards aren't that good, though. I'll give it a 2. I'm gonna stick with it. Sky Claw, 3 mana, your other mechs have +1 attack, 1/2, summon 2 1/1s. Have to think about like the 3 drops in Mech Paladin right now. There's Flying Machine, Nip Nap, obviously. Yeah, I could see this maybe making the cut. It is pretty powerful. It does mess with your Christology, which is kind of annoying. That might be a reason not to play this. But it definitely could make the cut. I'll give it a 3. It's a powerful card, but I'm not entirely sure if it'll make the cut because of the one attack. Moving on, Righteous Cause. 1 mana, side quest, summon 5 minions. Give your minion +1/+1. So a lot of people first thought it was Odd Paladin with this. Makes a lot of sense. So you play this on 1, and then turn 2 you hero power, turn 3 you muster. That's pretty powerful. Yeah. That seems drawn. It's a really bad top deck, but with Divine Favor in your deck, that kind of makes up for it, I think. Huh. Yeah, I think that's pretty strong. It's like a delayed Mark of the Lotus. Of course, it depends, like, how much of those minions actually stick. That's kind of the question you have to ask. And I think maybe that's kind of the problem here. But if you're playing Muster, I mean, turn 3, you're always going to get 3 buffs off of this. Because you're either going to play Muster or you're going to Hero Power and play 1-drop. I think this card is good. I think it's 3. I think it could see playing Odd Paladin, actually. Moving on, Lightforged Zealot, 4 mana, 4/2. Battlecry. If your deck has no neutral cards, equip a 4/2 of Truth over. This is a much better payoff for this kind of thing than the 7 mana card. Because this gives you a lot of tempo, it just gives you a free 4/2 basically, because you're already paying for a True Silver usually. So you just get a free 4/2, which is pretty solid. I'll give it a 3. I don't know if that, I don't know if that deck will be a thing, but if it is, this card is very, very good payoff for it. Sandbrass, 1 mana, give a minion +1/+2, give it Divine Shield if you're holding a dragon. So, pretty solid. Yeah, it's a pretty solid card. I give it a 2.5. I don't know if it'll see play, but it's a solid card. Amber Watcher, 5 mana, 4/6, restore 8 health. This is a definition of a power creep anti-kill bot. Not only can you heal to have better stats, but it can also heal your minions instead of your face. Very, very powerful. Very nice card, I think. I would give it a 3. It's just, again, a question of what deck would you want this in. Can play him like a Reno Paladin, but Reno Paladin isn't really that good. But yeah, maybe a Control Paladin, I don't know. Probably played in Dragon Paladin, but not sure if this has a home or not. But it's a very powerful card. Bronze Explorer, 3 mana, 2/3 life, deal Discovered Dragon. 2/3 life deal for 3 is kind of bad, but the Discovered Dragon makes it more passable. It also works for Corpse Taker if you need another life deal card for it. That's probably the best use for this. If I had to guess. I'd give it a 2, it doesn't really excite me. Moving on to Priest. Another one of my favorite classes. Galakrond, the Unspeakable. 7 mana. Battlecry, destroy 1 random enemy minion, invoke twice to upgrade, and it upgrades to destroy 2 random enemy minions, and then 4 random enemy minions. This card reminds me a lot of Anduin. It has a very powerful Battlecry swing to it. The problem is the hero power isn't great, but I think the Battlecry is good enough to make an argument for playing it. You just need to find enough invoke cards, though, which there might not be enough of in Priest. I'm looking, and there's like the 1-2. The 1-2 seems decent. That's reasonable to play. Time Rip is okay. Maybe in like a Reno build you can play this. It's not super good though. Like, it destroys a minion and gives you a card, so it's not that bad. It's alright. I think this is playable just from the battle cry, and the hero power is okay. It's a upgrade from your regular hero power, but not the best. I think this is a 3, I want to say. I think the battle cry is very powerful. It's just a question of if there's enough passable or good invoke cards to make it viable. Then we have Mind Flayer Kari. Battle Cry 3/3, choose an enemy minion, Death Rattle, summon a new copy of it. Card is a lot of stats, potentially. So that's kind of nice. I think in most cases it's not going to be that great. But some circumstances it could be quite good. I'll give it a 2.5. 8 mana, Murozond of the Infinite. 8 mana Battle Cry, 8/8, play all cards your opponent played last turn. This card has a lot of interesting implications. You can kind of play it into, the first thing I think of is playing it against Reno Mage. The turn they play Jaina, get to play your own Jaina, quite good. I think most of the time this is going to be a very big tempo swing. Yeah, I think this card is good. It's a pretty strong tempo swing most of the time. So I'd give it a 3. Fate Weaver, 4 mana 3/6, Dragon. Battle Cry, if you invoke twice, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. The first thing I think of with this is like a Dragon Reno Priest, because this way you have 2 Emperor effects with your Spawn of Shadows. Pretty powerful, or your Bellin. The question is if you can play the invoke cards or not. If there's enough invoke cards to make it work. But it is a very powerful effect, and it's a 3/6 for 4, which isn't bad. I would give it a 2, probably. Just not super exciting, but if you can make it work, it is quite good with Reno Priest. Envoy of Lazul, 2 mana, look at the top, or look at 3 cards. Guess which one is in your opponent's hand to get a copy of it. This is like Curious Glimmerroot, pretty much. Didn't see a ton of play in Wild, so I don't really expect it to see much play. It's not bad, though. It's like fine. I give it a 2. Time Rip, 5 mana, destroy a minion, add a random priest minion to your hand, and it invoke Galakrons. That's why I mentioned it. It's an okay card. I'd probably give it a 2. It's kind of fringe, but it's okay. Breath of the Infinite. Deal 2 damage to all minions. If you're holding a dragon, only damage enemies. This card's pretty powerful. The question is, do you really need it when you have Duskbreaker? But the fact that it only damages enemies if you're holding a dragon is quite good. And even if you're not holding a dragon, it's still Demon Wrath, basically. I'll give it a 2.5, but I don't know if the deck really needs it. It's a powerful effect, though. Chrono Breaker, 5 mana, 4/5, Death Rattle. If you're holding a dragon, deal 5 damage to all enemy minions. Not really gonna be worth it, the Death Rattle. With a Battle Cry, it'd obviously be a lot better. It'd be a one-sided Duskbreaker for 1 mana more. But as it stands, I just don't really think this is worth it. I'll give it a 2. Whispers of Evil, I definitely want to play this in my Spell Priest with Gadgets in. 0 mana, add a Lackey to your hand. Solid card. Lackeys are good. 0 mana spells are very powerful. But yeah, I'm definitely going to play this in Spell Priest. Outside of that, I'm not sure if it really has a home. It's not bad though. It's a solid card. I would give it a 2.5 probably. Grave Rune, 4 mana. Give a minion Death Rattle, summon 2 copies of this. So it's basically a Carnivorous Cube as a spell. Pretty interesting. It's kind of nice that you can just play it on a minion and then trade it in right away. Instead of with cube you have to wait a turn. Or have something to destroy the cube right away. Maybe you play it in like a big priest. But I would think that's a little too win more. I think it's okay. I don't think it'll see much play. I don't think it'll see much play though. I'll give it a 2. Disciple of Galakrond. 1 mana, 1/2 invoke Galakrond. Another 1 mana minion that gives you a random card. So they're always pretty solid. So I'll give it a 2.5. This is probably the best invoke card for priest. Yeah. Alright, moving on to Rogue. Galakrond the Nightmare. 7 mana, Battlecry, draw 1 card, it costs 0. It upgrades into draw 2 cards and they cost 0, or draw 4 cards and they cost 0. Very powerful effect. Just, what are you doing with it, is the question. Maybe you want to do, like, Malygos combos with it. Outside of that, I'm not really sure what you would do with it. It's a very powerful effect. I think I'd give it a 3, actually, because just being able to draw cards and having cost 0 gives you a lot of tempo to make up for just paying 7 mana for this card. The question is, like, what are you doing with it? That's kinda my question. We'll have to see if there's a home for this or not. But power level, I'd probably give it a 3, maybe even higher. Next we have Wax of Dread, 5 mana, 7/5, Death Rattle. Shuffle a candle into your deck that resummons Wax of Dread when drawn. Cool effect, a very cool card, but as a rogue, you don't really want to be playing a 5 mana 7/5. Probably just gonna die. So I'll just give it a 1. It's just too little tempo, I think. Filk, Sky Shiv, 6 mana, destroy a minion and all copies of it wherever they are. Very powerful card against certain archetypes like Shudderwock. Completely destroyed Shudderwock. Solid card, honestly. Like 6 mana, 4/4 destroy a minion is already pretty good. And then all copies of it is also really strong. So I give it a I'm on the fence between 2.5 and 3. I give it a 2.5, I think. It's not bad though. It's okay. Umbral Skulker, 4 mana, 3/3, Battlecry if you invoke twice, adds 3 coin to your hand. This makes me think maybe you want to go Miracle Rogue with this kind of stuff, but I'm not sure if that's worth it. Seal Fate is a decent invoke card. and give a minion +1 attack invoke. So that gives you a wacky and gives a minion +1. Yeah, that's not really that good. This card is quite powerful though. I'll give it a 3 on power level, but I just don't really think there's enough support for Invoke. I haven't looked at the Invoke neutrals yet though, so it's hard to say. If there is enough, this card is very strong. Necrium Apothecary. Combo, draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck and gain its Death Rattle. Kinda cool for Big Rogue. Can like use it to get the Death Rattle of the 4 mana 3/3. So summon the 1/1 copy of the minion from your hand. Also, it could get the 7 mana 3/3 that recruits an 8 cost minion. That's probably the use that I see for this card, probably the most. It's also just nice being able to sheet out a Death Rattle that you probably wouldn't be able to early in the game, like something like a Sylvanas or something like the 3/4, I can't think of its name, the Reborn card. Yeah, this card's pretty good. I'd probably give it a 3. Seal Fate, deal 3 to an undamaged minion, invoke Galakrond. So you're getting a wacky, and you're being able to kill a minion or hit face if you're at 30. Mainly just killing a minion. Card's okay. I think it's decent because it gives you a wacky. I'd give it a 2. Reasonable card. 1 mana, discover a legendary minion from another class. Very fun meme card. Not really worth it though, overall. So I'd just give it a 1. Stowaway. 5 mana 4/4. If there are cards in your deck that didn't start there, draw 2 of them. I mean, if you can make this work, it's a 5 mana 4/4 draw 2, which is solid. But as a rogue, you really want to be being defensive at that stage in the game, because you don't have much healing as a rogue. I'd give it a 2. Praise Galakrond, give a minion +1 attack, invoke Galakrond. This card's okay. Gives you a wacky, which kind of makes up for it being so bad. So I'd just give it a 2. Candle Breath, 6 mana, draw 3 cards, cost 3 less while you're holding a dragon. Really, really efficient if you are playing Dragon Rogue. The only issue is the only dragon-based synergy was Waxodread, and I'm not huge on that card. It is quite good with it because you draw the candle. I think it's a little too slow for wild, though. If there is enough dragon support, though, this is a very powerful card. So I'll give it a 3. Bloodsail Flybooter, 1 mana 1/1 pirate, add 2 1/1 pirates to your hand. This card's quite good. It is just a 1/1, but it pulls patches. And then you have 2 more 1/1 to mess with that can help you with your combo cards as well. Very good with Ship Cannon if you want to go that route. Also just solid and odd rogue. I'd probably give it a 4. 3.5, I don't think it's quite a 4 actually. Next we have Shaman. Galakrond the Tempest, summon 2/2 Thorns with Rush. Invoke twice to upgrade. So it upgrades into summon 2 4/4s with Rush, and summon 2 8/8s with Rush. The 8/8s are quite powerful, very, very strong tempo swing. Even the 4/4s is a solid tempo swing, I'd say. The hero powers get a 2/1 with Rush, which is also not bad. Probably a very powerful standard card if I had to guess. I would give it a... The problem is, it doesn't really have a home, I think. But it is a very powerful card. I'd give it a 3. 3.5. 3.5. Probably. Nidhogg, 6 mana, 5/5, Battle Cry, summon 2 0/3 eggs. Next turn they hatch into 4/4 Drakes with Rush. I just don't see the eggs living. It is kind of annoying to deal with, I guess, but yeah, I just don't see it. Just too slow, and like your eggs are just gonna 6 mana 5/5 is just too much of a tempo loss. So I'm gonna give it a 1. Bandersnatch, 5 mana 5/5. You turn this within your hand, transform it into a random legendary minion. Not really worth it. It's just like a fun meme card, basically. So I'll just give it a 1. Cumulo Maximus, 5 mana, 5/5 elemental. If you have overloaded mana crystals, deal 5 damage. The first thing I compare this to is 6 mana 4/4 that deals 6 if you have a secret from Mage. I think this card is quite a bit worse because you need to be overloaded. I guess it's the same kind of thing. No, it's about the same actually as that. So given that, I probably will give it a 3.5. I don't know if it has a home now. I think it's a little too slow for like an aggro shaman. It is a powerful effect though. Maybe you want to play it in like a quest. The new quest shaman, because then it just deal 10, which is nuts. But yeah. Moving on to Dragon's Pact, 5 mana, summon 2/2/3 Spirit Wolf with Taunt. If you invoke twice, gives them +3/+3. Extremely powerful card. 5 mana for 10/12 of stats. 2/5/6 Taunt. Quite good. The question is there enough invoked synergy with Shaman. I think both the invoke cards are quite good. So I would say yes. And this one, Corrupt Elementalist activates it by itself. It's very powerful. I'd give it a 3.5, I think. Lightning Breath, 3 mana, deal 4 damage to a minion if you're holding a dragon, also damage its neighbors. Pretty powerful card. Again, have to figure out if there's enough dragon synergy with it. Power level though, I'd give it a 3. Just, again, do you have enough dragons or not? That's the question. Corrupt Elementalist, Battlecry, invoke Galakrond twice. 5 mana 3/3. So this card is pretty powerful. You get a 5 mana 3/3, but you also get 2/2/1 with Rush. And it already upgrades Galakrond. Upgrades Galakrond once. And activates Dragon Pact just like that. Very powerful card for the Galakrond deck. Probably give it a 3.5. Strong card. Stormwrath, 1 mana, give your minion +1/+1 overload 1. So it's a Mark of the Lotus with overload. Solid card. Mark of the Lotus, probably one of the best cards ever printed, to be honest. Very powerful. Just a question of what archetype would you play this in? That's the only question. I'd give it a 4. Power level wise, very strong. Squall Hunter, 4 mana 5/7, spell damage 2, overload 2. The only real case I see for this is maybe Even Shaman. Maybe you play this over 7/7 or alongside it. It is nice having a spell damage because it's worked very well with Crackle and Jade Lightning. And maybe if there's enough other spell damage cards, you could play Spirit Claws with it. Probably not worth it though. So I'd give it a 2.5. It could see playing even shaman. I'm not 100% sure though. Next we have Invocation of Froth. 1 mana, freeze an enemy, invoke Galakrond. So you get a 2/1 rush and you get to freeze an enemy. Seems pretty strong to me. I'd give it a 3. It's basically Glacial Shard, but your Glacial Shard has rush. Seems strong. Surging Tempest, 1 mana, 1/3, has +1 attack while you have overloaded mana crystals. So most of the time it's going to be a 1 mana, 2/3 in the right deck. I'd probably play this in Aggro Shaman alongside Tunnel Trog and Finley at 1 mana, also Sludge Swiper. Definitely could bring that archetype back a bit, maybe. I think it's quite good. 1 mana, probably mostly just a 2/3. It doesn't snowball like Trog, but that you didn't usually care too much how much your Trog snowballed. You just wanted it to get at least 1 attack. It's not as good as Trog, obviously, but it's definitely still a pretty good card, so I'd give it a 3. Galakrond the Wretched, 7 mana, or moving into Warlock, I should say. 7 mana, Battlecry, summon a random demon, invoke twice to upgrade. Random demons are pretty hit or miss. There's a lot of bad ones. And you don't really want to mess with your Gul'dan pool. Outside of Gul'dan, it's fine. It's just, you really don't want to mess with your Gul'dan pool. And the payoff isn't really that high. So, even if the invoke cards were good, which I'm not sure if they are, I haven't looked, but even if they were good, I just don't see this card being good enough. Maybe in standard though, maybe in standard it could be viable. But for wild, I'd probably just give it a 2, I guess. It's not horrible, it's just like, why would you ever play this when you have Gul'dan? Next we have Veldris, Felgorge, 7 mana, 4/4, increase your hand from hand side to 12, draw 4 cards. Being able to draw 4 cards is quite good, but I think the tempo loss of a 7 mana 4/4 is just too great to play. So I'm gonna give it a 2. Zeraku the Warped. Love the art. 8 mana, 4/12. Dragon, whenever your hero takes damage, summon a 6/6 Nether Drake. It kind of reminds me of Draxus somewhat, but Draxus had the potential to heal you. I don't think it's really worth it. You could like play this on 10 with a Rain of Fire and a Cobalt Librarian. That's kind of cute, but it's a lot of work. I just give this a 2. I don't think it's quite good enough. Veiled Worshipper, 4 mana, 5/4, if you invoke twice, draw 3 cards. Very strong payoff for going to Galakrond strategy, but again, I just don't really like the Galakrond in Wild. Just doesn't really make sense when Gul'dan is a card. But power level wise, I would give this a 4. Just, like I said, don't really want to play Galakrond, the Warlock Galakrond in Wild. Dark Skies, 3 mana, deal 1 damage to a random minion, repeat for each card in your hand. This is basically a mini volcano. Most of the time in Warlock, it's gonna hit for 7 on turn 3, which is pretty strong. It's like a mini volcano. That's basically the best way to put it. It is very good with Salanos if you can find a good enough reason to play Salanos in your deck. It's a little bit, it kind of depends, like, on the board state, whether this is better or worse than Demon Wrath. This does give you some incentive to play an Acolyte and things like that. I think this card is good, but I don't know if it'll really see any play in Wild, because Warlock already has so many AoE options. I'll give it a 3 on power level, though. I think it is pretty good. Dragon Blight Cultist 3 mana 1/1 Battlecry Invoke Galakron. Gain +1 attack for each other friendly minion. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Invoke. So the Invoke is summoned to 1/1s. Imps, if I can remember correctly. Which, I mean, could be good. Maybe Galakron is more of a zoo card. But I think that's more for standard. Could play like a mid-rangey version of it, I guess, but probably not good enough. So this is going to be a 3/1 at worst, with 2 1/1s alongside it. Which is an okay card, it's passable. Not really all that exciting though. I'd give it a 2. Nether Breast, 2 mana, deal 2 damage if you're holding a dragon. Deal 4 damage with Life Steal instead. Very, very, very powerful payoff for Dragon Synergy decks for Warlock. Could maybe play this in like a Maui lock, but in general, if you're holding a Dragon Deal 4, that's also just very, very powerful. Power level, I'd give it a it's either a 4 or 5. I give it a 4. I give it a 4, I think. Very powerful card. The question is there enough incentive to play dragons and Warlock? That's something we'll have to find out. But very strong card. Crazed Netherwing, 5 mana 5/5. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 to all other characters. So Hellfire attached to your dragon, very similar to Duskbreaker. Does come down 1 turn later than Duskbreaker, and it deals 3 damage to your face, which kind of sucks. But the 5/5 body alongside with it makes for a really big tempo swing. I think this card is a 4. Yeah, I think it's a 4. Another really strong dragon payoff. Just whether or not Warlock wants to play dragons is the question. Fiendish Rites, 3 mana, invoke Galakron to give your minion +1 attack. So this is going to give you 2 2/1s at the very least, and give +1 attack to the rest of your stuff. An okay card. Probably give it a 2. Not really all that good of a payoff for the Galakron, in my opinion. Abyssal Summoner, 6 mana 2/2, summoning a demon with taunt and stats equal to your hand size. Honestly, not a bad card. Getting the demon that you get off of this, off of Gul'dan, usually isn't going to be bad. So it's just a question of how many cards in your hand do you need this to be good. I would say probably 6 or so. Yeah, I'd probably say at least 6. That way you get 8/8 worth of stats. This seems pretty doable, I think. I'd give it a 3. I think it's right on the cusp of being good. I think it definitely could be playable. I don't think it messes up Gul'dan that badly. Like getting a, 6/6 isn't that bad with taunt. Rain of Fire, 1 mana, deal 1 damage to all characters. This card is okay. You'd have to come up with some good uses for it. I think the best use is with Spellstone. It's a very low damage upgrade for Spellstone, but I think it would have to be a pretty specific metagame that you would want this card. Like an Odd Paladin metagame, and even then they have the quest that gives +2 health. So I'm not really sure what you would play this, what metagame you would play this in. I'd give it a 2 because it's not bad, it's just not really good enough. One other thing I should mention with Dark Guys is you could play with eggs. Be a pretty nice way to pop your eggs, but again, probably not gonna see play. Next we have Warrior. Galakrond Unbreakable. Battlecry, draw one minion, give it +4/+4, and vote twice to upgrade. So, trying to remember what the upgrade for this one was. I think it would draw 2 and give them +4/+4, or draw 4 and give them +4/+4. Not entirely sure. I would assume it's just draw 2 and get them +4/+4, and then draw 4 and get them +4/+4. Which is pretty good. Just the question is, what would you play it in? I think the best case, the best home for it would probably be like a Dragon Warrior, but not really sure if it's good enough. It depends on what your invoke cards are. Let's take a look at those quick. Ritual Shopper, invoke Galakrond 1/2. So this is going to be a 4/2 weapon, or a 4/2 the turn you play it basically. Because your invoke is giving you +3 attack to your hero. So it'll be a 4/2 the turn you play it, and then a 1/2 the next turn. Which is pretty good. Like a heroic strike with a 1/1 weapon left over. So that's probably pretty worth it. Look at the other one. Invoke Galakrond, deal 1 damage to all minions. Kind of like a swipe. But it hits your own stuff too. But you can make use out of the Whirlwind with Dragon Warrior because you can play Acolyte or Crossing. So it's an alright payoff. So maybe this is something you can consider for Dragon Warrior. But the tempo loss you're getting is really, really real. Like, you don't really do anything the turn you play it. That's kind of the problem. I think that's a pretty big issue, so I'm going to give it a 2. Deathwing, Mad Aspect, 8 mana 12/12 dragon, Battlecry, attack all other minions. I think this card is solid. I think best case scenario is like you play it and it kills a lot of things and then still lives. Or if you needed to kill like one big thing, that's also not bad. I give it a 2.5, I think. Ankar, 3 mana, 2/3 legendary weapon. After your hero attacks, draw a pirate from your deck. I'm skeptical as to whether this will see play in Pirate Warrior. My assumption is no, mostly because it just doesn't do enough damage. It is good with Bloodsail Cultist, and drawing 3 cards is quite good. Maybe you do want to use 1 slot of your Pirate Warrior deck on this, because you do get to draw 3 cards, potentially. It just doesn't kill your opponent fast, and if you're getting to the mid to late game with Pirate Warrior, you're probably not winning. That's kind of my worry with it. I'll give it a 3 though. The power level is there. Just the question of like, does it really kill your opponent fast enough for you to make an argument for playing it? Is what I would say. Scion of Ruin, 3 mana 3/2. Rush Battlecry, if you'd invoked twice, summon 2 copies of this. I think both invoke cards are decent. So you could play this. It's also a dragon, which is nice. We are getting quite a bit of Dragon Warrior synergies throughout the years, with Alexstrasza the champion, and then with the Execute Dragon thing, and then gain 5 armor 1. So maybe there's enough Dragon Warrior support. And that's kind of what I was thinking with Galakrond, but Galakrond tempo loss is quite real, like I said before. But this card is a solid payoff for this. It's also very drawn if you draw this off of Galakrond, because then you get 2 7/6s with Rush. But yeah, what did I give this a 3. Solid card, just is the payoff really worth it as far as going for Galakrond. Ramming speed, 3 mana, force a minion to attack one of its neighbors. This is like 1 activation of Super Collider, which just seems horrible to me. Like, you pay 5 mana for 3 charges on Super Collider. Why would you pay 3 mana for 1 charge? It just seems terrible, so I give it a 1. Molten Breath, 4 mana, deal 5 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, gain 5 armor. Very powerful card. There definitely could be enough dragon synergy at this point. Just not sure if it's good enough for, if Dragon Warrior is good enough for Wild, really. Definitely could be, though. It's very good with Shield Slam. Very efficient card. Yeah. I like this card a lot. I give it a 3. Ritual Chopper, again, gonna be a 4/2 the turn you play it, and then a 1/1 the turn after. Solid card, I give it a 3. Sky Barge, 3 mana, 2/5 mech. After you summon a pirate, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. So this is a slightly more expensive, slightly sturdier ship cannon. I think this is definitely a good standard card. I'm thinking it's likely too slow for Wild, though. Because I think as Pirate Warrior, you just want to develop more onto the board and push damage on turn 3 with things like South Sea Captain or Bloodsail Cultist. You can make an argument this could be over Frothing, but I think Frothing snowballs a little bit harder. It's just a question of, do you want this over Frothing? That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I think Frothing is quite good. I'm not completely sold on this. It's just really slow, I think. Just a step too slow. Because, like, on turn, you could coin this out on 2, but I think, you know, on turn 2, if you're going to use the coin, you much rather go cannon, coin, 1-drop. So, I think this is just a touch too slow. I'll give it a 3. This is a powerful card. It might see play in Pirate Warrior. We'll see. I'm just not completely sold on it. Evil Quartermaster, 3 mana, Battlecry, add a lackey to your hand, gain 3 armor, 2/3. Decent card. Not anything too exciting. I give it a 2. Doesn't really have a home to it, but, you know, getting a lackey and gaining 3 armor isn't bad on a 2/3 for 3. Sky Raider, 1 mana, 1/2 pirate, add a random pirate to your hand. Gonna be great in Pirate Warrior, for sure. I'll give it a 3. Slightly higher than the other 1 mana cards that generate a card, because this comes with patches. Most of the time, anyway. It also could summon the 2/2 pirate that is coming up on neutral. So yeah, definitely gonna give that a 3. Awaken, invoke Galakrond, deal 1 damage to all minion. I think I'd give this a 2. It could be good with Acolyte Frothing and things like that, but just not all that great, I think. Just not that good of a payoff. Sastrovar, we already kinda played with this card already. Didn't seem that good. I'll give it I mean, I'm just not even gonna do this because it's already out and everything. Wasn't that good though. Shuma 7 mana 1/7 at the end of your turn. Fill your board with 1/1 tentacles. Seems really bad. 1. Kronk Dragon Hoof. 6 mana 6/6. Draw Galakrond. If you already Galakrond, unleash a Devastation. So the best use for this card is going to be the Devastations. Don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but they're all like really, really powerful 0 mana spells. So I do think it's quite good. It also just draws you Galakrond if you don't have him already. So I'd give it a 4. I think it's a very powerful card. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, 9 mana 8/8 dragon. If your deck has no duplicates, add 2 random dragons to your hand, they cost 0. Pretty strong tempo swing. I don't know if it's even good enough of a payoff to play in a Reno deck though. I think it just makes the cut, maybe. It depends on what your deck looks like. Your deck wants dragons or not. This definitely can help. I'll give it a 3. The power level is there, just a little bit slow. 9 mana for an 8/8 and a lot of loss of tempo. Although, of course, you do get the 0 cost dragons. So, kind of makes up for it a bit. Frizz, Kindle Roasted next. 4 mana 5/4 Battle Cry. Reduce the cost of dragons in your deck by 2. It seems drawn, but my problem with it is, like, what deck is gonna play that many dragons? This is gonna help. I think most dragon decks typically run around 8 dragons total, probably. Maybe that's more. Maybe you can play more with this set now. But I think this card is okay. It's just not that exciting to me. I give it a 2. I don't think there's a deck that you would really want to play that many dragons in. Chromatic Egg, 5 mana, 0/3. Secretly discover a dragon to hash into Death Rattle Hash. That's pretty cute. Don't really think it's worth it though. Not really power level. Just not really good enough power level. So I'll just give it a 1. Very cool card though. I like the Secretly Discover thing. That's pretty cool. 2 mana Transmo Griffier. 2/3. Do you draw a card, transform it into a random legendary minion. Very fun meme card, obviously. Outside of that, not much. I'll just give it a 1. Cobalt Sticky Finger. 5 mana 4/4 pirate. Deal your opponent's weapon. Seems a bit late to the party. Could have used this against King Bane a while ago. That being said, it's a pretty strong tech card. Being able to steal your weapon as opposed to destroy it is quite good. I would give it a solid 2. Just again, strong tech card. Outside of that, not really doing much. Dread Raven, 3 mana, 3/4, has 3 attack for each other Dread Raven you control. Give it a 1. Doesn't really do much. Just a 3 mana, 3/4. Tentacled Menace, 5 mana, 6/5. Battlecry, each player draws a card, swap their cost. Can't really think of a use for this. I'll just give it a 1. Wormwrath Purifier, 2 mana, 3/2, transform all neutral cards in your deck into random cards from your class. Pretty cool, Pronounced Darkness type card. Pretty fun. Can't really think of an actual use for it though, so I'll just give it a 1. More just a meme card. Blowtorch Saboteur, your opponent's next hero power costs 3. Doesn't really do that much. I'll give it a 1. You're just making the hero power cost 1 more. Not really that big of a deal. Grizzled Wizard, 2 mana, 3/2, swap hero powers with your opponent on your next turn. Kinda nice against Rexar, I guess. Wow. Doesn't seem that good. I'll give it a 1. Skyfin, if you're holding the Dragon 7/2 random Murlocs, 5 mana, 3/3. Fine, I guess. It's kinda weird to be playing Murloc with dragons. I'd give it a... Random Murlocs are pretty bad, probably. I'll give it a 2. Dragon Breeder, 2 mana, 2/3, choose a friendly dragon, add a copy of it to your hand. Doesn't seem that great. It's okay. Kinda reminds me of a Zola. Better stats, though. Just can only hit dragons, though. I'll give it a 2. Depth Charge, 1 mana, 0/5, at the start of your turn, deal 5 damage to all minions. Maybe you want another Doomsayer in your Reno decks? I don't think so, though. Yeah, I don't see it. I'll give it a 2, because, like, it's not horrible. It's just, like, why would you play this ever? Over a Doomsayer? More of a standard card, but even then, like, no, I would give it a 1. Just not worth it. The only case you can make for it is if you're playing like Reno Mage and you want another thing to proc with your Frost Nova. Bad Luck Albatross, 3 mana, 4/3, shuffle 2, 1/1 Albatross into your opponent's deck. So 3 mana, 4/3 is passable stats, and the Death Rattle is pretty decent. I mean, being able to give your opponent 2 dead draws basically is quite good. It's also kind of a cool meme card if you want to go Priest with Weasel. You can play Twilight's Call and keep reanimating them and everything. Pretty cool. Overall, I'd give it a 2. 2.5, I guess. It's a little bit better than a 2. Cobalt Falcon, 5 mana, 3/5, Valkyrie, add 2/1 cost spells from your class to your hand. Solid value. There's a lot of bad 1 cost spells though, is the problem. But I could see a deck maybe wanting this. Cheap build definitely help some decks. I think I would give it a 2. Faceless Corruptor, 5 mana, 5/4 rush, battlecry, transform one of your minions into a copy of this. The only downside of this card is you need something on board for it to work. But, I think it's a pretty powerful tempo swing. And I'd probably give it a 3, maybe 4. I give it a 3.5, I think. It's a very powerful effect if you have something on board that you can upgrade. You can value trade 2 things or kill 2 things, whatever. Dragon Maw Poacher, 4 mana, 4/4 if your opponent controls the dragon, gain +4/+4 in rush. Really hate that they printed this, that they're printing this card. It's just a really obnoxious tech card, like similar to Galaka Crawler and Hungry Crab, things like that. Just so oppressive that, like, just very, very strong and destroys the deck you're targeting with it. I don't expect there to be that many dragons. Maybe day 1 there's going to be a lot of dragon decks, but I don't really see that being the case overall. I give it a 2 because it is a really powerful tech card, but outside of that, it's useless. Zoldrak Ritualist. 4 mana, 3/9, summon 3 random 1 cost minions for your opponent. You can play this with Oaken Summons, very powerful in that scenario. When you draw it as a druid, you could also just play it into Spreading Plague as well, not bad. Good with Swipe and things like that. Could see playing Druid, I guess. I could also see him playing Warrior, maybe. Quite good with Whirlwind effects, like Bloodrazor and Ravaging Ghoul, stuff like that. Warpath. Give it a 2.5. Horde Pillager, 4 mana, 4/2, equip one of your destroyed weapons. Could maybe play this over Rummaging Kobold and or no, never mind, no. It won't summon the Jade. No, never mind. Equip one of your destroyed weapons. Can't really think of anything this would be helpful with. Means you're like anti-weapon tech, I guess. Give it a 2, I guess. I don't think there's any use for it really in Wild. Kinda cute with Valinir, I guess. Really slow though. Urgard Grapple Sniper. 6 mana 5/5, Battle Cry. Both players draw a card. If it's a dragon, summon it. Best use for this is probably milling people, and it's pretty bad at that even. So I'll give it a 1. 5 mana 4/5, Shield of Galakrond, Taunt, Battlecry, Invoked Galakrond. Depending on which Galakrond you are, this could be quite strong. Let's take a look. So, Shaman, let's see, Warrior first, you get 3 attack. So it's pretty good, you get to use the 3 attack to clear a minion off. Warlock, you get 2 1/1s. So it'd be a 5 mana, 4/5 to summon 2 1/1s. Also not too bad, it's okay. Rogue, you would get a Lackey, also not bad. Priest, you would get a random priest minion, not the best. Okay. So, I think on average, most Galakrond decks would probably want this. Card's quite good. I would give it a 3. Solid, filler for Galakrond deck. Evasive Draconid, 7 mana 7/7, can't be targeted by all the hero powers. Hey guys, Zephyr BGH, GG. I don't see any use for this at all. Best use I can see of is getting it off Nether Fight in a certain scenario, I guess. Give it a 1. Twin Tyrant, 8 mana 4/10, deal 4 to 2 random enemy minions. I think it's a little too weak. If it had Taunt, it would be a lot better. Without Taunt, you're just kind of leaving yourself wide open. I mean, you do get to kill 2 things potentially, but just too much of a tempo loss, I think. Just not quite doing enough. Compared to something like Primordial Drake at the same amount of mana, this card doesn't do enough. So I'll give it a 1. Devoted Maniac, 4 mana, 2/2 rush, invoke Galakrond. Okay, so again, let's think about the Galakronds one by one. So Shaman, you get a 2/1 with rush. It's not too bad, honestly. You get 2 rush minions to help protect you. Not too bad there. Priest is not really good enough. Warlock is pretty weak. Warrior's okay. I'm gonna give it a 2. It's just not quite as good as the Taunt. 6 mana 6/6. Give your other mech stealth until your next turn. Powerful effect, but I think it's a little too slow for wild, so I'll give it a 2. Hot air balloon at the start of your turn, gain +1 health. It's an okay card. Can kind of be another 1-drop for mech decks if they want one. I'm not entirely sure that they do. I'll give it a 2 because it's not really that good. Much rather play something like Glowtron over this. It could be good in like hand buff, but again, the Cryptology is awkward with that. Plate Breaker, 5 mana, 5/5, Battlecry, destroy your opponent's armor. As a person who liked Deadman Hand Warrior a lot, this makes me very sad. Another stupid tech card that's really broken in one matchup, or 2 in some cases, I guess, in this particular card. Give it a 2, what I give most deck cards, so. Evasive Chimera, 2/1, poisonous, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Definitely not drawn enough, give it a 1. Firehawk, gain +1 attack for each card in your opponent's hand. 1. Hippogriff, 2/6, rush, taunt. So a Stegodon with rush is quite a bit better than a Stegodon, but gonna give it a 2. Okay, not great. Gobble Glide Tech, 3 mana, 3/3. If you control a mech, gain +1/+1 and rush. Powerful card. If you have a mech. I give it a 2.5. Definitely has the upside if you have a mech on board. Gyrocopters, can a 4/5 rush, Wind Fury. It's an okay card. Given that it has rush, you can kill 2 things right away. Pretty nice. I'll give it a 2. Living Dragon Breath. 3 mana, 3/4. Your minions can't be frozen. Inside this, you can like text this if you're playing against a bunch of Freeze Mage and Exodia Mage. But outside of that, it's pretty useless. I'll give it a 2. Tasty Flyfish, 2 mana, 2/2 Murloc. Death Rattle, give a dragon in your hand, +2/+2. It's okay. Give it a 2. Passable. Blazing Battle Mage, 1 mana, 2/2. It's like okay. 2. Parachute Brigand. 2 mana, 2/2 after you play Pirate, summon this minion from your hand. So this is basically a patches that you want to draw. I would give it a 4. 0 mana, 2/2 is quite good. Very explosive. Pirate Warrior can now be very explosive with Ship Cannon. Even more so than it before with patches. Now, like, can go Cannon Coin 1 and get 3 pirates with this. You can give this patches and the 1-drop. You get 3 triggers off the cannon, just like that. Pretty powerful. Evasive Phaelin, 4 mana, 5/4, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Fairy Dragon's older brother or sister. Don't really think there's gonna be a good use for this outside of Netherspite Historian. Maybe if you're like some kind of dragon deck and you're playing against Priest or something that targets your minions a lot, you can use this to push a lot of damage. Outside of that, it's not really that useful, so I'll give it a 2. 5 mana, 5/5, big ol' whelp, draw a card. Similar to Hazard Drake, most of the decks that play Hazard Drake are going to want to play it over this though, because spell damage is pretty helpful. Card's okay though, I mean it's not bad, I'll give it a 2. Scale Rider, 3 mana, 3/3, if you're holding a dragon, deal 2 damage. This is SI7 without the combo, but with holding a dragon instead. quite good. I'll give it a 3. Evasive Worm, 6 mana, 5/3, Divine Shield Rush, can't be targeted by fellow hero powers. You get to value trade away, which is nice, and then you can't target it, which is okay. I'd give it a 2. Okay card. Wing Commander, 4 mana, 2/5, has +2 attack for each dragon in your hand. Again, like what I was saying with the legendary, this guy, I just don't see a deck playing that many dragons. Like, most dragon deck will play like 8, and in which case this is not going to be all that good. It'll be a 6/5 at best most of the time. So I'll give it a 2. Troll Batrider, 4 mana, deal 3 damage to a random minion, 3/3. Could be okay in Battlecry Shaman, I guess. I think it's a little underpowered for Wild, though. Probably a really good standard card, though. Give it a 2.5, I'd say. So, looking back, I think the best cards in the set are probably, take a look here. It's lots of 3s, I think. I like Murozond. I think he's quite good. I think I only gave him a 3 though. I think this card is quite good. Probably one of the best cards in the set. It's just a question of, is there a deck for it, which I'm not sure if there is. Bloodsail Flybooter is also probably one of the best cards in the set. Necreum Apothecary is also pretty powerful for Big Rogue. Storm's Wrath is nice, good old Mark of the Lotus. Dragon's Pack is really powerful if you're playing the Galakron deck. Nether Breath is really good if you're playing Dragon Warlock. Create Netherwing, same thing. Sky Raider is going to be great in Pirate Warrior. Kronk Dragonhoof is a pretty powerful effect. If you really hate dragons, you have a great tech card now. Not that you didn't before you had Dragon Slayer, but now you have another one. I think this is going to be pretty core for most Galakron decks. What else? This card could see play, I don't know if it will though. I think most of the mech decks want to keep as many mechs in the deck as possible because of Magnetic. Parachute Grand is probably one of the best cards in the set, if not the best. Very, very powerful, just getting a 0 mana 2/2. In Pirate Warrior, or even Odd Rogue, or not Odd Rogue, Pirate Rogue, if you want to go that route. But yeah. That's gonna mostly do it for this set review. Let me know what you guys are excited to see and mess around with. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to check out my Twitch channel. I will be streaming the new set on the 10th. I should be. I have to check the date. But yeah, I should be able to stream that day. And probably quite a few more streams after that. So go ahead and follow there. Feel free to follow me on Twitter so you can get a better idea as to when I will be streaming. And I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.